All right, welcome in the Bobby Carpenter Show, and we try to get some great guests from time to time. And this guy is one of Central Ohio's own Pick North alum, hero of the Cotton Bowl. Pleased to welcome in our guy to start the show, Mr. Jack Sawyer. Jack, how we doing today, sir?
Doing great, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on.
All
Hell
right,
yeah,
Suggs, I
man.
know you've got a bunch of questions. Go for it.
I do. I got so many questions. One, Jack, we're going to get in the weeds of some cool stuff, but you're throwing out the first pitch, the Guardian game, aka the Indians. How are you feeling about that? Have you been practicing? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm about ready to start warming up the old arm. Getting it loose for that opening pitch. It's pumped up for it though, man. It's cool. It's such a cool experience to get asked to do. So I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, I come out and pipe one right down the middle.
So, when was the last time, Jack, you threw off a mound? I know you played baseball growing up. You talked about
Yeah.
playing with Lorenzo Styles, did a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, I'm sure you pitched at some point. But when was the last time we were on the mound?
Yeah, shit. I think the last time I was on the mound was probably going into my freshman year of high school. Probably the last time I've thrown off the rubber.
That's awesome, man.
So
I love
gotta
it.
get used to that.
That's all right. Hey, listen, you got it. It's like riding a bike. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple
Right.
practice throws and you're fine. I want to start off with this because I remember the 23 Cotton Bowl and disarray, not a game that went for the Buckeyes. Things
Yeah.
happened. You balled out. I want you to tell everybody kind of like what transpired for you and then collectively in that team that led into that senior year, because we always talk about how important like finishing strong in the season is as a team, but also individually. How did that momentum of that game impact you to have the 2024 season that you had?
Yeah, I think that, it's a mixture of a lot of things. Obviously, we come into that game, wanting to get it done. We fall short again. Last game of the season, we have another bad taste in our mouth, finish another year. And for us guys, we wanted to do something and leave a legacy here. We wanted to win a national championship, and we're tired of feeling like this at the end of the year. And I think after that game, it was kind of like, all right, here we go. We're kind of like when Rocky got beat by Clubber. He got sent back down to nothing. Had to get tough and work his way back up. And that's kind of the mentality we took into this past season, definitely into the playoffs. Just that, man, we're gonna go out, and we're gonna fight, we're gonna get mean and nasty again, and we're just gonna go out there and let it fly and throw as many punches and bunches as we can. So, I think that the Missouri game had a lot to do with that in 2023 Cotton Bowl. And then, going in the playoffs, we regrouped with that mentality, and that's why, we went out there and it was just fireworks from the first snap.
Talk a little bit, Jack, about the entirety of your career. When you're a Central Ohio guy, obviously you know about the Buckeyes your whole life, and some people are more fan than others. And I know that you follow Ohio State closely. They got the pictures of you with like the Laurinaitis jersey on.
Yeah.
He's the linebacker coach when you're now there playing. But the process of going there and just the ups and the downs and that roller coaster when you're a guy who's from a local school outside of Columbus with just so high of expectations. Now it's easy. You look back like you got all the hardware that you need, but just that journey of what that's been like on a year in and year out basis.
Yeah, I mean, my first 2 years, not really playing a whole lot after being a highly recruited guy. You're going through the works of grinding your way up a depth chart and the ups and downs that football brings you. When you're a young guy coming into college, when everyone else is just as good as you are. So, for me, that was an experience in itself. Got a chance to learn a lot about myself. How to work, how to be a great teammate when things aren't going your way, and just keep showing up to work with a good attitude and grinding. And being from Columbus, Ohio, always wanted to bring a championship back. For my home state and for Columbus in itself. Growing up 15 minutes away, it's something that I still remember when Zeke, ran 65 yards to the heart of the South, the punch their ticket to go to the Natty. And for me, you always dream about being able to do something that leaves a legacy on not only here, but for the people that are fans of the program, fans that live in Columbus and the state of Ohio. And for us to be able to go do what we did this year and have those moments and now cement our name in history, at Ohio State forever. Man, it's the best. It's one of the best feelings I've ever felt, in my life. So being able to do that, being from Columbus, being from Pickerington, Ohio, being able to do it with four other guys from Pickerington, it means so much. And it is one of the coolest experiences and one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life when the confetti started to drop down and knowing that we brought the national championship back to Columbus. You know, the Buckeyes are back on top.
Man, it's special. And I just got goosebumps because I just remember Urban talking about like it's a blood transfusion. Like, I mean, it completely changes your mindset. And now you understand everything that goes into being able to be a champion, not only
Right.
individually, but as a team. I got a two-parter, Bob, but I'm only going to say the first question first because you hit it. You talked about being a good teammate. What is like, again, you're going to be a teammate in a variety of things, whether it's on the field or in business or even at the house. What is being a good teammate to you?
Yeah, I think being a good teammate to me is doing everything you can to ensure that one, you know, you're doing your part for the team. If you're not taking care of your business and your assignment on a play, you know, you might as well forget about the rest of it. But then once you master that, you know, it's doing everything you can to help your brother next to you. You know, whether that's Tyleek fitting a double team so Cody Simon's not getting climbed up on early at the next level by a tackle. If it's me, you know, hard joining a guard coming to kick me out so that it's a smaller gap for Lathan to come down and fill in the B gap. It's those type of things, giving yourself up for the greater good of the team and the success of your brothers on the field. To me, is what being a good teammate's all about. And then, you know, off the field too, and being in the meeting rooms and helping each other learn the playbook. You know what I mean? Seeing things and talking about it and being around the guys. You know, the camaraderie and the Woody. And you know, in the playoffs, you know, we always, me and Lathan always joke about it because, man, we really lived in here because we didn't know when the last day we were going to be a Buckeye, you know, on the team was. So we were soaking up every moment of it. And to me, that was like the best example of, you know, being a great teammate was during the playoffs and that run we went on, man. Everyone was with everybody all the time, making sure we all knew it. The young guys, we were getting the young guys ready just in case of, you know, God forbid one of us got hurt, someone could step in and they would know it inside and out. To me, it's just that's what it means to be a good teammate. For us, you know, we call it the brotherhood for a reason because we're all brothers, we're family, and you know, it's not fair to not have, you know, one of your brothers ready or not do something that's going to help your brother succeed on the field with you for the betterment of the team. So I think to me that's what it means to be a great teammate.
And that was perfect. And I appreciate you saying that because I don't think everybody knows what goes into being a great teammate. And then this
Yeah.
question, Jack, like what makes Ohio State right now so special in the NIL, the portal, guys that could go get more money at other places? You know, is it the dudes? Is it the coaching staff? Is it Coach Day? And we've heard you talk a lot about this, but like, what is that value proposition that differentiates Ohio State among every other college football program out there?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. Like in the end of the season last year, before this past one, we all had opportunities to go to the NFL, or some guys could have went and got, you know, 1 million plus in NIL and at a different program, but you know, we all wanted to be with each other. And I think that the way our program and our family is structured at Ohio State's a family. You know, Coach Mick and Coach Day and those guys, you know, it's a family. You know, they love you. We're not doing anything based off fear or you know, this or that. You know, it's about, look, we're gonna get to work, we're gonna love each other, we're gonna go as hard as we can. You're with the best coaching staff in the country. This is the best place to get developed to go to the next level. And if you want to be a part of something special, you can go chase the money. You can go chase this or that, or you want to be a guaranteed starter day one at a lower level school, and go ahead, be my guest. But you know, you're going to miss out on being, you know, developed right, being a part of a process that's going to get you ready for the next level, and ultimately, you know, be a national champion, which we were, which is something that holds so much weight, and you don't even think about when you're young and you have no idea before you do it. Even us, you know, we still are kind of, it's still like surreal to us when someone says, "Hey, congratulations." So you never even met before in your life, or when you're talking to an NFL guy and a coach, the first thing they say to you when you walk in the room is, "Man, congratulations, national champs. That's unreal, man. That's what we're chasing." And you're kind of like, "Damn, like this holds so much weight that we don't even realize, because in the process we're just doing what we love to do and kicking ass." And being able to hang that banner and win a championship, man, it opens so many doors. And to me, that's the greatest pitch that anyone could sell me, is being able to win a championship. And then for me too, you know, being from Columbus, it's that much sweeter.
So you go to the combine, and Schlegs and I, you kind of had this similar experience. AJ, we didn't win a national championship. Schlegs, we won our freshman year. And, your senior year, though, you had your whole position group there with you, Jack. And so a lot of guys, they may have a guy from their team, maybe two, but you have, your whole position group. And we kind of had that. So we're sitting at breakfast together. We're walking around together and, having those conversations. And to top it off, you guys, you're the reigning national champs. So what was that experience like for you? And not that you have anything to even compare it to,
Yeah.
but there had to be a really nice feeling walking around there in Indy.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it, right on the head. Like, we're the reigning national champions. All four of us that started on the defensive line are at the combine. Ty Leak, JT, Ty, myself. Um, walking around being reigning national champions and being able to do what we did and go on the greatest run that college football has ever seen. You definitely feel it. When you walk in a room. People. It's the first thing people say is, "Congrats, man! You guys were badass in the playoffs, man. We watched you guys the whole way. Like, you guys dominated fronts up front. Like, what went into that? They want to know why we played so hard with each other, why we cared so much about doing it the right way and finishing off. You know what I mean? And when everything was, we were backed up against the wall. And it's the greatest feeling to be able to say, like, we're all a family, and that, we love each other so much that we went to work and kept swinging and backed in the corner. You got two options. You can curl up in a ball and get your butt kicked, or you can keep swinging and swing your way out of it. And that's what we did. And being able to walk around Indy and meet with the coaches and do stuff as a group, like you said when you were coming out, is definitely really cool, because that's something that the coaches and other players in our position wanted to hear about, is how tight knit we were, and the love we had for each other, because everyone sees how close this team was, and on and off the field. So I think for me, that part was super cool, super good experience.
All right, we're going to take a quick 15-second break. We got more with Jack Sawyer. Schlegs, you get the first question coming up here in a second. National champ defensive end Jack Sawyer joining the program here today. Schlegs, you wanted one more question. Go ahead. You take the lead.
No, man. Captain Jack, you said some good things, and I want Bob to touch on the memory. Like, he can touch on the memories and stuff, because it's funny, all the stories that you got. I mean, we're 44 years old. Like, you're 22 years removed from us. We were your age, like double now. It's crazy. But, like, you remember all these things, and it's just so special. I call it making memories, right? Like, when you're in it, you don't realize that you're making these memories. I want you to touch on something, because I don't think people in 2025 understand, and you don't got to go into the weeds of the post-Michigan game. I don't want that. But I want you to articulate how in 2025, grown-ass men can have hard conversations and people not be offended. Because it seems like today, everybody is offended. Everybody has their feelings. Well, feelings are fleeting. How does that come about? And I think part of it is the veteran leadership, but how can that be sustainable year after year at a culture of Ohio State? Just articulate on that a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's a feel good world now. I mean, if no one wants to get their feelings hurt, and for us, after that game and going to the playoffs, we knew we were going to make the playoffs. We knew we were going to still have a chance to go reach our ultimate goal, which is winning the national championship. And, man, there was a lot of tough meetings. The player-led meeting where Coach Day was in it, and guys challenging guys, grown men going at other grown men. It wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't, guys cutting on guys. It was, hey, why the hell isn't the job getting done? Why aren't you executing at a high level to make us succeed, myself included? And, we all had to look ourselves in the mirror and be able to have those tough conversations, get it off our chest, so we could all move forward collectively as a unit. That's the love that we talk about, is, in a family. Growing up, my dad used to always, as soon as we got in the truck, it wasn't about the 4 touchdowns I scored in Pee Wee football. It was about the tackle I missed and why I was loafing to the ball, on the third play of the game, something I didn't even remember. But that's just life. That's stuff that you gotta recognize, because if you don't, like we always say around here, it's easy not to recognize those when stuff's going good and let it slide. or you can be a grown man and address those things that need addressed still, and not get in your feelings, not get emotional about it, to be able to get better from it, so those things don't bite you in the ass later down in the season. And for us, going in the playoffs, we knew it was do or die time. We had to go win a national championship. There was nothing else left for us to do, and we had the biggest dream of ours and our arms reach, and we weren't going to let anything slip away from that. So we had those tough conversations, man. Grown men challenging other grown men, coaches challenging other coaches. And when we showed back up for that first practice leading up to Tennessee, when we knew we had them, I mean, you could have cut the intensity with a knife in the building, and it wasn't. No one was scared. No one was timid. No one was overthinking anymore. It was, hey, we're showing up, and we don't care who the hell rolls out in the shoe on 8 o'clock. Come that night, it doesn't matter. They're getting steamrolled, and that was our mindset. Lead into the game. When you have that mindset, when you're really getting pushed, and positive peer pressure by your peers to do your job at a high level for 2 weeks leading up to something like that, man, and the results are what they were for a reason. And I don't think without those tough conversations that we had and guys being so receptive to it, and especially I want to give credit, a shout out to the offensive line, because man, they played their tails off in the playoffs, and a lot of those guys had a lot of hard conversations after a few of those games, and man, they played at an unbelievable level after losing 2 All-Americans in the playoffs, and to help us win a national championship. So, I mean, there was no room to have anybody in their feelings, thinking about anything else, thinking about after the season. And after that, the receptiveness of the team to be able to go out there and do what we did was unbelievable after that.
I got two quick ones here. You start talking about that Tennessee game, and I was down the sidelines before the game with AJ, and he's doing the sideline with McAfee, and we're all talking. Pat asked AJ, he's like, "How do you feel about this game?" And it was after they were walking in, and you're standing right there, and a lot of guys start coming to your back. And he goes, "Oh, they got him by 100." He goes, "This ain't even going to be close." And Pat's like, "Really?" He goes, "You can see the way that you guys were acting. Jack, you kind of led the surge over there, walking to the sideline. I got like
Yeah.
my kids. I'm trying to keep them back because I mean, you've seen it kind of go a little sideways before.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting. I'm just making sure. But what was the impetus? Like, what was the reasoning? I mean, the intimidation. Like, where was our head at when you decided to walk over there as they're walking down the sideline?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what's funny is like I always go down there before games, and they come walking by, and the whole week leading up, Tennessee's taking over the shoe. They're gonna come in, they're gonna come up north, and they're gonna run through Columbus, and for me and the guys on the team, we're thinking like, man, these guys must have lost their damn minds, thinking they're gonna come up to Columbus in the freezing cold from the south and roll through Columbus, the Buckeyes. And I'm sitting down there, and first time I ever walk out in the shoe, you get booed because there's so many Tennessee fans in there. But then that was the loudest I've ever heard the shoe, though. Our fans, man, they took over that place. And when I'm sitting down there, a guy runs by, one of the Tennessee players, I'm not sure who it was, and they're like 3-3. We can't wait to plant this Tennessee flag in the middle of your field after the game. And
Ah.
and I was like, man, that's enough of that. You know what I mean? And the rest of the team responded. We got in that locker room afterwards. Coach Higgs breaking stuff, slamming chairs, punching a hole in the whiteboard. I'm telling you, I've never heard the shoe that loud. The fans were off the hook, and it kind of resonated with the whole team. Like, man, like we're about to go out here and show the country, the Buckeyes are back, man. We're gonna come out swinging, and we're not done this year. We're gonna come out there, and we're gonna put our best product on the field. Anyone thinks that they're gonna walk in the shoe in the middle of December and run through us like that, got another thing coming. So, for us, that was the mindset, the mentality we had, leading up to that week. And then obviously the stuff before the game was just a byproduct of all those emotions, getting ready for that first snap.
Oh, it was good. I knew you guys would be ready to play after watching that week of practice. We've joked, guys have called you, Jack Day, and your relationship with Ryan. And, you're a big defender out there. Talk a little bit about that, and just you were part of one of his early recruiting classes,
Yeah.
and to be there through him, the ups and downs and everything, and just how he'd been attacked. You were one of his staunchest supporters the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I was Coach Day's first commit back when I committed as a sophomore in high school, and we just had a great relationship, always have, and I love the way Coach Day goes about his business, and love his family. His wife Nina is awesome to all of us, and really, we seeing how he handled the media and seeing how he handled the stuff, the attacks his family got, seeing the kind of man he is to accept it. And we'd had conversations and I'd be like, man, coach, some of this stuff, excuse my French, is bullshit that's going on. He's like, look, Jack, this comes with the job, man. I can handle it all. And seeing that, man, it just made me, it instantly made me gravitate towards him even more. You know what I mean? He's the type of guy you'd want to play for and run through a brick wall for, because he's such a player's coach and he does everything for us. He's been such a good leader and mentor to me, and he's been great to all of us. It's really a family. I was joking with me and Donnie and Will were joking with him a couple of days ago. We're like, man, you're Uncle Ryan now. You're not Coach Day anymore. And he's like, damn, that makes me sound old. And we were joking with him, but we just got a special relationship. Being able to go through when you go through hard times with people like that, and you see what happened, you see what goes on, and to see the man he is, to keep showing up to work with a positive attitude and being there for us, and the stuff he's still doing in the community of Columbus and loving. He loves Columbus. He loves Ohio State. And then be able to see, now on the back end of it, when we win the national championship and people finally see that he is the best damn coach in college football, it's not even close, in my opinion. It's special, and we have a great relationship, and always will.
Dude, I love this interview. This is fantastic. You and I, we could, you, me, and Bob could talk all the time. I want to go into now your draft process, and this is a two-parter. All right, it's a two-parter. So, talk about your draft prep. How do you feel you did? Again, turn on the tape, right? Like that's right. Just turn on the tape. Watch what I did. But how do you feel that draft prep helped? Check some boxes. And what does the team that Jack Sawyer wants to be a part of look like for you?
Yeah, I think I think the pre-draft process went well. I think the meetings went well. Interviews were good. But like you said, I'm not really a tights and t-shirt type football player. I like to put the pads on, get my hands on someone. So, cut the tape on, when you want to find the type of player I am. But, the team that Jack Sawyer wants to play on, that I want to play on, is just a tough, hard-nosed team that cares about winning. Winning's at the forefront, at the top of the list. And a team that just puts their cleats in the ground and goes, man. A team that wants to get after offenses and has an attack mentality on defense, where we're getting after their ass on defense and not sitting back. And, thankfully, I think that, all the teams I've talked to and the league, the way the league is now, that's every team pretty much. So, I'm excited to find out where I go, wherever God's got me going. I'm excited for it, happy for it. And, they're going to get a hard, tough-nosed player who can rush the passer. So I'm excited for it.
Are there any nerves that come with that, Jack? I mean, like, this is the first time in your life, like, going to a college, you get to make the choice. It's all up in the air. I mean, heck, you could go 20th, you could go 60th. I mean, things get crazy in the draft. Like, you have zero control of it. I mean, are there any nerves, and what are your plans like for draft day?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some nerves. I think for me, I feel good. Like I'm in a spot now where, like, God's got me. Wherever I go, I'm gonna be blessed and happy, excited for the opportunity to go in there and work my ass off, wherever organization picks me. And now it's just a waiting game. Now it just sucks that 3 weeks has never felt like so long in my life. So now we're just waiting around, waiting to hear your name get called. So for me, I think that just be with my family and waiting around, waiting for the phone to call, really.
Hey, I'll ask this. So as you're sitting there waiting around, like, how has the next phase, right? Because again, you got these 3 weeks and you're waiting for that process, but it's also, I got to get ready to go because as soon as I get drafted, I'm in rookie minicamp. When we were in school, I was already graduated. They had to wait a little bit to then go. Now you get drafted, boom, you're in the rookie minicamp, and then you're into OTAs. What have you been doing in the meantime to set yourself up for success, so when you go, you can make that first good impression?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my body right, just trying to stay in shape, stay ready. Like you said, as soon as you get drafted, you're out in a week, and you better show up to OTAs, looking like you're in shape. Else that wouldn't be a good first impression. So I'm trying to stay in shape, working out here at the Woody, Coach Mick and the guys who are still in town. And, I've been working out with Coach Jay a little bit too, staying agile, trying to stay in the D-line. Now I get to focus on all ball. I'm not focused on any testing drills or 40 or anything like that. It's back to ball, which is what I love to do. So doing D-line drills, getting back to playing football, working with Coach Jay, watching some film, talking to Coach Patricia has been great. Just learning about, different stuff in the NFL, things to expect, things to be ready for, situational stuff. So I'm trying to, prepare myself physically, but also, a little bit on that mental side too.
Well, Jack, we've kept you way too long, man. We appreciate the time. Can't wait for you to be done with like your rookie year. You can come back in the off season, hang out. We can start doing some like adult things now since you're not a current player anymore. We can have some fun and enjoy the off season a little bit. I want to throw this up and have you take a look at one of our great listeners put together this unbelievable little picture montage of Captain Jack for the Scoop and Score, the superhero. And we promised if we had him on, we'd show you this. So we'll try to get you a copy of that as well.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
When you make big plays, you get special stuff for you, Jack. So it's tremendous. We'll get that over to you. Go get a little lift in. I know Higgs is probably waiting so you guys can go have a bench off, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right, man?
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. Schlegel, Bob, you guys are great, man. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, brother.
The best. Captain
Go
Jack.
Bugs, baby.
Oh, he's the best, man. You love him. What a great dude. Great guy. Great representation of Columbus, of Ohio. Everything you really want to see. He's doing it for you there, Schlegs. And like you could talk to him all day. That's why I said I can't wait till some of these guys, now that they're like kind of through it, they get to that rookie year, then we can come back and Schlegs, then we can kind of hang out, and have some fun and go do stuff that you age and I do, and adult things. We pull like Joshua Perry into this stuff. You get to do some adulting. Like, hey, you guys want to go to dinner? Get your wife, your girlfriend. I don't know if I was going to ask him about his girlfriend situation. I didn't know if he wanted that fully disclosed or not, possibly dating one of his former teammates' sisters. So Buckeyes there. We got that going for us. But attention, parents and athletes, protect what matters most with X-Sport mouth guards. Trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. X-Sport mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. X-Sport mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own unique smile with 3D printed technology. That means more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. X-Sport, protect what matters most. We got a ton of great stuff to come up on the show today, Schlegs.
I know, man.
I don't even know where to go. You know what? We talked about special teams, and Tress had the secret of a special team that he put out there. So we're just going to dovetail right into that coming up next in the Bobby Carpenter Show. Welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. Great interview right there with Jack Sawyer.
Texting him. That was amazing.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Thank you, bro.
So I owe you, Jack. I owe you a couple beers and maybe a dinner after this. Get back this summer, hang out, relax, and it'll be a good time. Pat's working on this audio from our guy, Coach Tress, because you start talking about special teams, and Tress has been a part of a lot of special teams. And I don't know if it's just me, Schlegs, but now it's all about the team. They've been like dumping out all of these different clips and everything they've been putting together. And
because he's the lieutenant governor.
Because he's the lieutenant governor, Schlegs. You gotta salute him because he's a lieutenant. You never got to be a second lieutenant, Schlegs. Tress made lieutenant status before you did. Which you feel sad about that? Do you ever lament it?
I do. It's funny. We got a kid from Creekside High School down here in Florida that's going to the Air Force Academy, and he was at Hunter's baseball game last night, just talking to him about. He's an offensive lineman, great kid, heavyweight wrestler, like all the things that you want in an academy.
Wait, like old boy, like Hendricks, What was that?
Yeah,
Dude?
but he's not. But he's going to play football. Like he's not going
He
there.
could grow that mustache and be a wrestler too. Tell him he
Yeah.
can go. Buckeyes.
Honestly, if that was in like the regs back in the day where we could walk around campus with a mustache, I 150,000% would have had a mustache. I'd had a buzz and a mustache.
Look real Farva-esque. I love it, Schlegs. All right, let's listen to our guy Tress talking. It's all about the team, about having special teams. There we go.
Now he's an All-American. He's going to be a first-round draft choice. He had that ability to connect person with the highest perceived role, the best player or the best producer in a business or whatever. If that person is the best person and can relate to everyone else, we're going to have a good team or a good company. I think back to Ohio State when we had Will Smith, great defensive lineman. Every day I'd walk in that locker room after practice, he'd be sitting with a different walk-on player. Now he's an All-American. He's going to be a first-round draft choice. He had that ability to connect person with the highest perceived role, the best player or the best producer in a business or whatever.
So,
if that person is the best person and can relate to everyone else, we're going to have a good team or a good company. I think back to Ohio.
So that's it. And so you start talking about this, and we just had a guy on like that, Jack Sawyer, and you have Jack. You have Lathan on here all the time. You look at Will Howard, who's come on with us, Seth McLaughlin. Travion's been on here with us. A lot of these guys have all been through here, and you start asking yourself the question, the Styles brothers, like, it's no coincidence why that team was able to get through what happened and then came out better for it on the other side, because their best players, and they had a lot of them collectively spread out, were also their best people and their best leaders. And when you have that, whether it's business like Tress said, or the team or whatever it might be, when your highest producers are also great leaders and great people, man, it makes it so easy and it makes it fun and exciting.
Yeah, I was just going through as you were rambling off what he said. I mean, your best producer is also your best person. And we've always said in the weight room that your best players have to be your hardest workers. Yeah. And then you go through and you look at who won the Iron Buckeye Awards. And I remember Berm put something out there: when you have elite talent and you're also the hardest worker, like that's what differentiates you. And again, that's what's making Ohio State so special, is they are finding the people that collectively want to come for less than other places that are also good humans. And Bob, we went back to the beginning where everybody was like, why aren't these guys focusing on ball? They're doing a revival on campus. Remember that, Bob? All that
was a problem. People thought that was a problem, a distraction. But I'm like, your best dudes are your best people too. And so that's all part of it together.
And the way that they're doing it, and what Jack alluded to, is being a great teammate. And yeah, if you want to go chase the bag, yeah, you want to go do it, man. Like, we don't necessarily need you here. We want the selected dudes that we want. It was funny. I was talking to Ryan Stamper about how the Rams, they have the smallest personnel group in the NFL, also the highest paid. They all came to Jacksonville. So you have less guys doing the same amount of work, but here's the focus. And the Rams have like won the draft. Like, they go to the combine to get the award. They don't even go to the combine. Like, they got the award and they bounce because they don't really care about that. They're turning on tape. The thing is this: what does the tape say? And what kind of person are they? And they want to put their top 3, maybe 4 picks on those caliber type of guys that they know culturally and productivity will move the needle. And then we can fill in the rest with the other draft picks or free agency. And when we look at those guys and how we want to spend our money, that's what they're looking at. I thought that was pretty cool because there's a lot of synergies between how Ohio State has built out their roster in 2025.
Absolutely. And it's pretty awesome to see with all those guys, with how they did it and just building it with great people. I talked to a bunch of recruits here over the last couple of weeks. They talk about business school, and I go, listen, you want to talk about business, major in business here, getting real estate and finance. I can talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about the connections you can make outside of here. I'll talk to you about what Ohio State can do for you in life. And the best part is I'll talk to you about the great people that you, and then as parents, I look at your son is going to get a chance to go to school with and be around the majority of their day, every single day for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So just enjoy it, appreciate it with all of the great things that they ultimately have right there and what they're able to do. We got a ton of stuff ultimately to get to, and some of it's going to have to be pushed into next week. But let's get into this, Schlegs. There's a huge all Brian Hartline does is recruit high-level receivers. And he's got one with a famous last name, famous first name, and maybe a JR there as a suffix at the end, who people were kind of worried, like, hey, he's oscillating, he's taking other visits. What is this going to look like? Well, he had a message for everybody. We'll talk about who that is and what their message is next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back to the Bobby Carpenter Show. We got our headlines for you. One of the big headlines. Brian Hartline, all he does is recruit grade A, top choice wide receivers. And he got a commitment a while ago, like last summer maybe, from Chris Henry. And he was a young one. All right, and that's, Chris Henry Jr., the son of Chris Henry, Cincinnati Bengal wide receiver. And coming in here committed, and everyone's like, man, Oregon's going to offer him a lot of money. You got Texas. You got all these different people that are coming in and coming after him. We had a message for everybody, Schlegs. You want to toss that up, Pat, like of where he's at and what he's got going on. This is a big deal because he's really good. I think that was the wrong one.
Oh, you know what? That was all right. So just to put shade on it. So that was the spring ball. And guys, like, listen, here's what's so important about this. You got Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Mylan Graham, Brandon Ennis just making plays all over the place. And boom. What does Chris Henry do? Throw it up there, Pat.
So then Chris Henry sees all that. Boom, he's locked in. Ending his commitment, says it's over. I'm going to be a Buckeye. This is done. Like, I was taking some other stuff. Everybody was worried. And I always say, I ask some of the coaches, are we worried about this? Should we be worried? I go, if they are not worried, I'm not going to be worried. And so I felt good about everything that was going on with that and where ultimately he was. Schlegs is over there highlighting the wrong stuff on the chart. And I'm sorry, Pat.
Well, you know what? It's on me. But here's the thing, and this is why I was like, hey, throw this up first. And it was because when you have a guy that's a five-star guy, number one recruit in the class, right, at his position, or maybe the entirety of the class, I don't really know. But you have JJ going to be there another year. Carnell Tate, potentially be gone. Brandon Ennis, I believe, is in the same stature, could potentially be gone. Then you also have a Mylan Graham who has another year. And you're that guy that wants to just step out and start performing and be on the field. But he sees what everybody else does. I got to go earn it. And you know what? I'm done. I don't want to hear about anybody else. I don't need any more people telling me about how much I can get if I go to this place. I want to go be a Buckeye. That's why that clip was important, because I'm game for the competition. I want to be sharper. I don't have to necessarily get all the balls the first year. I want to make an impact. That's significant, and that's the kind of guys that you want coming in the program with the mindset that Jack talked about earlier in the show.
And then we got some other news on the Buckeye hoops. We don't talk a ton about that, but just in the hoops and the portal and everything. And Jake Diebler's in the process kind of rebuilding this program. Got a big commit last year from Michi Johnson, who was at Ohio State for a couple of years, went to South Carolina, had a lot of success down there. I think he was second team All SEC, transferred back. Season didn't go the way he planned, had some personal issues, had to take some time. But we tossed that up, Pat. He is going back now to South Carolina. So full circle in the transfer portal era, Schlegs, where you're going to start at one place, go to a place B, go back to place A, and now he's ultimately going back to place B. So just wanted to kind of get that out there, talk a little bit about that, and just how wild this is now in the current transfer portal era. All right, enough with that. I want you guys to toss your questions in the chat, your comments in the chat, everything that is going to be happening, everything that we got going here. We'll get that answered for you here coming up next in Real Talk, Tailgate Talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer. All right, welcome back in. Now we got our Tailgate Talk brought to you by our friends over at Real Truck. Go to realtruck.com, bring your truck, Jeep, Bronco to life this spring, just like I did. It's raining a lot, so no Jeep weather right now. But we've got some questions here. Terry Slusher threw this out here a little earlier in the show, Schlegs. Do y'all think Coach Day will grab a QB or defensive tackle out of the transfer portal for depth? I think if he can add the right quarterback, a veteran guy who's coming in who could provide maybe some in-game depth should you have something happen that he could, step in maybe for one of the other guys. Sure. He always likes to have 4 scholarship QBs, as Mello pointed out there, which I think is accurate. And then on the defensive tackle, I think if they could add the right guy, maybe they add a guy. They're looking for a little depth. They got K-Mac in there. They like what he's doing. You've got some other depth, Will Smith, Junior. There's guys that are beginning to step up, but they're waiting for them to take that next step. Simmons, you want to see those guys begin to make plays, and you want to give them that room to do it. You don't want to be living in the portal. I think if there's an opportunity to grab a depth piece, you do it. But it has to be the right guy, and it's got to be the right fit.
Yeah, 100%. Everything that you guys are talking about, quarterback, D-line, whatever the case may be, it's all about fit and opportunity, and what does that look like, and do they add value to the Buckeyes? That's going to be what they do first. Do they add value to the Buckeyes? And then somebody, go ahead, Bob. Next question.
Okay. Another one in there. Steely Matt threw in. Does Mike Nugent have any kids? Yes, Mike. It's good. I mean, listen, we're all about it. Schlegs finding the kids, kids for people. And Mike actually lives down the street from me. Mike has 2 girls, and then he just had a son, I think a year and a half ago. So you got a solid 17, 18 years until that could potentially happen. But yes, Mike does ultimately have some kids out there. Question from Mello 7 right there at the bottom. How do you guys see the offense performing this season, Schlegs?
Yeah, I think the offense is going to be really good. I think there might be some growing pains at the very beginning. And the question is, how prepared will they be for the Texas game week 1? That's really it. The good thing is that Texas is also saying the same thing. So who can get their team prepared better? Who can get their team to play faster? What team can eliminate the mistakes in that game? That's what they're going through. I feel very confident that Ryan and Brian Hartline are going to have the right quarterback. We already know what the wide receiver room is. We have some uncertainty in who the running back room is going to look like, feel like, act like compared to what we had last year. I feel like the offensive line and some of those transfers that come in and how they transform their body, along with a lot of guys on the interior that have played a lot of ball by fire, are having good springs and what that could look like. The cool thing is that you also have now a May and a summer as you finish out spring football to get prepared. And then tight end is really deep. The tight end room is really, really deep. I think the offense can be really, really good this year, Bob.
I think it will be. And there could be some growing pains early on. That could be something else that would obviously be an issue. I think the interior of the offensive line will be good. They've got to get those tackle spots kind of hammered down, with obviously Daniels in the portal, guy from Rice, and then you've got Austin Servold out there playing tackle. So that'll be interesting. So that plays out. They're getting some great work with this defensive front in in spring ball right now, because the stuff that Matt Patricia and those guys are throwing at him has been wild. CJ Hicks has looked really good on the outside. So has Kenyatta, Caden. Like, they've got some good looking guys that have been able to get to the quarterback, and they've got some young guys in there. I think Zion Grady, I believe that's his name, number 15. Like, I see some of these young guys, I don't know who they are yet, because they've only been here for a couple months. And you're like, man, who's that guy? Like, and you hadn't seen him in a jersey. Like, this guy just looked good, like running, twisting, like spinning his hips, getting some pressure, explosive. So you see that stuff, and you're like, okay, these are the traits that I'm looking for. Now we just need to see some consistency with that, and then obviously that body transformation that they ultimately make. But I think the offense on the perimeter is going to be great. I like the running backs. The quarterbacks, it's just a function of strikes. You have 3 guys that are out there competing, busting their butt.
Yeah.
Like, there's some room to work. And that's going to be part of that whole ability for them to ultimately have some success. Let's see if we've got one other comment coming in here from Terry Slusher. It said Texas will be a good barometer this season. And I don't disagree with that. So, like, I think, whenever you start with a really good team, that can be a negative. But I think in this era, like, if you lose that game, it's not terrible. As long as you don't get smoked, which I don't think is going to be the case, and there's a good chance you're going to win it, and it's at home. And so to be the man, Ric Flair, you got to beat the man. So I love this rematch early in the season to kind of find out what you're about.
Yeah, 100%, Bob. And it's like it gives them some extra urgency from a coaching staff and also a player to make sure that we're ready to go, which is also why being intentional in this spring football is paramount, because we lost a week because you won a national championship and you couldn't start the week before spring break like we normally do. So the urgency on being prepared for week 1 is at the highest level it's been in a long, long time.
Absolutely is. All right, that's it for our Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Coming up, we'll get the parting thoughts of one Anthony Schlegel as we wrap up the show and wrap up the week. All right, here we go, Schlegs. Let's get your dude of the week fired up for you.
Yeah, my dude of the week is Matty P, and I just say that because 1, it was great to see him at practice. 2, I just love his demeanor and the presence that he has on the field, and how excited our guys are for the development and the understanding of the why of defense. I think that they're becoming better football players because of his teaching ability, and that is critical when you're dealing with guys that are 18 and 22-year-olds.
Oh, they're doing a ton of different stuff, and so that's a good dude of the week. I mean, you're going to see a variety of things, man, and it's going to be awesome on the defense. 3, 4, 5 down, 3, 4, 5, 6 rushing in and out, get linebackers walked up, linebackers dropping back. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff. You want to see what it looks like? Go watch the New England Patriots defense when they were rolling there in the late teens, and that's what you'll get a taste and a flavor of. And they've got probably better players across the board relative to their competition. My dude of the week, anytime you're going to come on the show and be my dude, you're a Fairfield County guy, it's always going to be Jack Sawyer. And so love Jack for coming on. So 2 Buckeyes on this week with both him and Lathan. Schlegs, you get 30 seconds if you want a quick side nugget.
No, throw that up there. Throw that up there, Pat. Listen, man, I've been waiting for this because I've been tired of being lumped into the millennials, because I am not. I am now Zennial, and that's how you say it, which is great because I was born in 81, and in Bridging the Gap, I talk about it all the time. I don't know anything about analog to digital, right? But I do know this. I'm happy that I'm not no longer a category as a millennial. I am this micro generation of a Zennial.
Absolutely, Schlegs. All you know is pain. All you feel is rain. You and DMX, and I'm a Zennial as well. So I feel your love and I feel your pain. That's it for this edition of the Bobby Carpenter Show. Stay locked in. We'll catch up with you next week.